Is your team not keeping up? You hire good people, but it feels like they're always asking questions. You're fixing mistakes or jumping in to finish the job yourself. They just don't seem to be improving. But it's not that your team doesn't care. They just haven't been trained to think like you. But if you could keep putting off training because you're too busy, you're going to stay stuck doing it all yourself. Your business is going to slow down. Frustration is going to start ramping up, and your team will never become the asset that it can be. Started working with a contractor who once said during our initial free discovery call, he said, Steve, I give them a task and I end up redoing it. I might as well have done it myself in the beginning. The problem wasn't the talent, it was the training. They were thrown into the field with tools and a checklist, but no real development, no coaching, no standards, no system for growing their skills. But once we started to work together, we started to build a simple, ongoing training rhythm with clear expectations and real-time feedback, and the team began to step up. Jobs started to run smoother. The owner got his evenings back, and suddenly growth didn't feel so risky anymore. So in this video, you're going to learn how to develop your team in a way that's simple, effective, and actually sticks. Because a trained team just doesn't do the work. They think ahead, they take pride, and they grow with your business. They actually grow your business for you. But if you ignore this, you're going to keep being the backup plan for everyone's job. Mistakes are going to keep costing you money and trust, and your team will hit that ceiling because they don't know how to get better. Right? So when you invest in training, and this is really important to understand, your team becomes more confident and they become more capable. You stop being the bottleneck. You start to build a business that scales with less stress. Most business owners, they treat training like it's maybe like a one-time event, or worse, an afterthought. They hire, they give a quick rundown, and then they hope the new guy figures it out because, hey, they're smart. That's why I hired them, right? They should know this stuff. But here's the truth. No one gets better by guessing. If you want a strong team, you need a strong system to help them develop. And so here is going to be a way for you to start building a culture of training and develop in your business. And it starts first with identifying the gaps. Where are your team's skills falling short? What keeps those causing those callbacks or slowdowns within your business, those problems that keep coming up over and over again? Then, secondly, create a simple training plan. Break it down into weekly, monthly topics, short focus sessions. Those are the things that really work best. Then you want to mix formal and on-the-job training. Use coaching, shadowing, real-time feedback, not just meetings. I had a client that he would always think about when his employees would make a mistake, and he usually think about it as, oh, this is now costing me money. But now he's saying, oh, this is going to my training budget. Why? Because he would stop and help them figure out what they went wrong. What could we have done to prevent this in the first place? What do we need to do to move forward to fixing this, right? And they encouraged themselves, and they weren't afraid to make mistakes because they knew the owner had their back. So the next thing is, and it really falls into place, is you need to encourage personal growth on their own. Reward improvements. Give the people a path to grow their skills in their role. I had a client that what they would do is each pay raise was based on their developing more skills. So if somebody comes to them for a pay raise, they say, well, you need to develop these 3 skills to get to that next level, right? That's important. At least they see a path of growth through learning. And then most importantly, you really have to track progress. Use job performance, customer feedback, even peer input to see what's working and maybe even what's not. See, training doesn't have to be fancy. It just needs to be consistent. And when you build it into your culture, it pays you back every single day. You don't have to design the perfect training system from scratch. Right? There are people that can help you. A coach can help you focus on what matters most, help you to build it faster, avoid those trial and error that burns through your time and money. It's not about information, it's about transformation. And that happens when your team is developed on purpose and not by accident. I'm business coach Steve Goranson. I invite you to discover the power of coaching. Go ahead, click on the link and schedule your free complimentary 2-week business breakthrough coaching experience. Yes, 2 weeks of free coaching. It starts with a simple discovery call. So go ahead, discover the power of coaching. Your business deserves it, and so should you.